met two of them here, I don't think there's anything I can tell you. So that's pretty well it. Jeremy, don't you want to talk?
Say again?
I thought you were going to have a bit to say.
No idea that I had to say something.
Oh.
No, I thought that you did it extremely well there again.
But
I like that the reference to Normandy. I just think your research is a heck of a lot better than mine.
But you've obviously done a lot of reading lately and before.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up, but I'm more interested currently in checking things out and how the people, specific reference to people that sort of traveled into South Africa.
Mm.
And they was mostly checking to see what the fauna and the flora was.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So that is checking that, and then the encounters with the Hottentot at the time.
Yes.
And also the contact with the Xhosa.
Yes.
So that is what I'm busy checking out. And the interesting thing that I picked up is they say that there was lots of Xhosa here in Somerset East, but the books that I have read thus far doesn't really indicate that. Bushman's-Rivier, there somebody got some Xhosa people, and one person shot one of them that was in the bushes somewhere, but that they were hiding in bushes, and that was one of the things that I picked up. And then one of the encounters was when people came across over the Gamtoos River. There they encountered some Hottentot that was bigger than the Hottentot that they would find. Hottentot was mostly settled around the Koolbokkenveld.
Mm.
So, and these Hottentot on the other, they had to cross over the Gamtoos. So when they went over there, they encountered these Hottentot. And these Hottentot were bigger than the other Hottentot that they've encountered coming from the Cape. And these oaks, then they discovered that these oaks were mixed people between Xhosa and Hottentot themselves.
Yeah.
So there was intermixing already. And these oaks were, they're all people, when I sort of grew up, I learned that the Xhosa and the blacks used to have the assegais, the spears, and the Hottentot didn't have much in the line of things to fight with. And the Bushmen had
their bows and arrows, yes.
But it's not quite true. Hottentot had bows and arrows, and they had assegais as well.
Mm.
So, and in this particular instance, when this oak crossed over the Gamtoos, encountered these oaks, these bush Hottentot went off, and they fought against a lion that they encountered, and they would go after the lion, corner him, and then use the assegais to kill him.
Mm.
But in the meantime, those lions, because it's small, it becomes very dangerous, and it would kill one or two of them, and they were not too concerned about that, but they were very happy to kill it. Yeah. So those are the things that you encounter. What was the other thing?
Now, there's a huge amount of history in this part of the world, and Coxkraal, where Lisa and Trotsky lives. Francois Lavayante, who was here in 1782, I think, spent a lot of time at Coxkraal with the Ganakwa people, who were part Xhosa, part Khoisan. And there are three books that have been written about, three that I have found that were written about the area, but there's a lot of history here. So you can keep researching forever and you'll keep finding new things.
Yeah, the other thing about some of the Xhosa came cross over to this end. And they would come out. They don't quite live here, but they come out to come and get some honey and stuff. And then they would encounter some of these English people. And they were not happy with these oaks because they claimed the property for themselves. And these oaks, they were free. They moved wherever they wanted to.
Yes.
And so that caused some clashes. The other person saying that the Hottentot, they also they would take out some roots. They would ferment it, and they use that the fermented stuff in water and with honey, and that's the stuff that they use that they would drink, and that would get them in a really in the Hottentot blues, and then they will sing the song that this was Hottentot. And well, to the people that was listening to it, it sounded like Hottentot, and that's why they named it Hottentot.
Yes.
So, and they would then do their dancing and stuff. So that was they didn't plant anything except dagga.
Oh.
It's the only thing that they planted was dagga. And and so they were smoking dagga, and when they encountered some of these people that did their traveling, and these people give them tobacco, and they quite enjoyed the tobacco, the smoking bit.
They love tobacco, yes.
Yeah, and then you find that people came in to do some missionary work. And I didn't know this, but out in George, there's a place called Buckelsdorp. And Buckelsdorp was one of the first missionary works that I sort of discovered. So that is, and then the other oaks went up to there's some Hottentot that is up in Kimberley area, somewhere there. But then these oaks were quite clever. They wanted the missionaries, people to come and bring their stuff. So eventually, and then they would plan to kill them so that they can end up with their wagons and stuff. So, and strangely enough, I still think there's people in churches that think that way.
And the last thing about the Battis is if you go up to the stop street at the end, turn towards town, the first street that goes off to your left it's a short street, that is Battis Street. So there's a street as well, and I keep forgetting that I must drive along there and check that the sign is up and see what Battis Street looks like.
A question.
Yes.
Doreen had any children?
Yes, but they appeared to be, from what it says there, they also appear to be adopted because of, no, but Alfred, I met her once. He was the bank manager in Zimbabwe. And years ago, this lady arrived here sometime in the day and just spent hours here, and that was Anna Louise, who was Alfred's daughter. So Battis's niece. And she was in PE, and I last had correspondence with her, I think, when we had our first or second festival, because Giles always said, let Anna Louise know, and we corresponded a bit, but she had cancer, and I think she's dropped off the radius. So there's very little, there are no descendants from Walter. There's Anna Louise from Alfred, and thank heavens for all the other Battises that we have around, keeping the strain going.
Yeah, if you look at that book, you'll find that there's, in the book, there's from the original Battis that came to South Africa, they have many children, and I'm descended from the one that's Jeremiah.
Yes.
My name is Jeremy, and Jeremy is the English equivalent of Jeremiah.
Yes. I find it very distressing Giles brought me the family Bible, and I've showed you. It is the Bible, and there is a page torn out. And in Battis's writing, it says, page torn out, Jeremiah, etc.
Yeah,
And to me, that is very, very sad and very distressing.
that's not the big deal. But Jeremiah had a son, and his son is Herbert. That is my grandfather.
Yeah,
Now Herbert went up to also to Zimbabwe, which Rhodesia at the time. But on his way there, all his animals died. So he came back to South Africa very poor. If you made reference to Answell,
yes,
there used to be a farm there that my grandfather, my great grandfather lived there, and they had some property, so they
Yeah.
gave some of the property. The place in New Street was given to Herbert.
because at the front of the Bible is Battis wrote, because the Bible, I think, belonged to Battis's grandfather. And Battis wrote, we must look, John had a brother who was an ostrich farmer, and I think it says at Doornkral. Does that ring a bell?
I wouldn't go that far. I just stick to my section of language. But I don't get people make decisions, people do things, so I don't get involved in that. I'm just very proud of my heritage and where I come from. So that's all that matters.
Wonderful. Yeah.
But still, I think that you are just.
Oh, come on. Sorry, that was a bit short. I thought it would be longer, but
the one thing I picked up that there's a thing back when Battis died, the original Battis that came to South Africa.
yeah, he died in Kimberley.
Yeah.
Yes.
You'll find that his death certificate says that he was born in France.
Yeah.
But they do not say where exactly in France.
And Doreen went to the extent of hiring a French genealogist to try and find out which town he'd been born in, but they weren't able to find out.
And the other thing that on his death certificate also indicates what he was. And instead of, I'm not quite sure when the engineer, you mentioned everybody.
A royal engineer was apparently also was a soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he learned botany.
So that is right then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And therefore, when you look at even my grandfather, he was excellent when it came to planting and stuff like that. He was just brilliant. Here
I have a couple of copies of the Battis family from Roots Web, which is something that's written by Doreen, and that's got most of the history here. Do you want a copy of it? Haven't I given it to you already, though?
No, I'll take it, thanks.
But
Thanks. I can't see anything right now. But thanks, thank you very much. But that was very good, thanks. I appreciate it. Your research work is a lot better than mine.
just if I'm going to do one on rock art, that's going to be a lot longer because there is so much.
Yeah, so next week's topic is rock art. Next month.
Next month.
Sorry.
Is that a Bushman?
Yeah.
No, well, Battis's
Oh, okay.
association with rock art and so on.
Just before Boston closed down, or most of the things in Boston just went, somebody wrote a book on Bushmen and the significance of the Bushmen and their painting. And the great thing about that, the paint that they produced was that it hardly fades.
Mm.
And in this book, they sort of states that it's amazing that that paint that those Bushmen made cannot be reproduced. They cannot. They do not know how they made it, but the fact that the color stays and doesn't lose its what you call it is just amazing.
There are people who try, because I don't know if he came here himself, but I heard of somebody who was giving art classes and replicating the pigments that they used. And they would often use blood, animal blood or their own blood or egg as a binder for it. And there are caves with paintings, one cave outside town here, and I've got pictures of it, but I've never wanted to know where it is, because people can be very irresponsible with things like cave paintings. But I just came across something now. I know that with the rock art, Battus at one stage, although he'd written books and done a lot of research, it was in England, they said, oh no, Battus isn't an authority, he doesn't have the qualifications. And I've just seen a little paragraph now saying that some of his theories and some of the things he said are now seen to be how important they were. So he's been given a lot more respect and credence for his rock art, what he wrote and what he said. But I'm trying to find it now. At the time I went to Joburg for I invented myself, the Jack Ginsberg exhibition at the Wits Origins Centre was an exhibition called The Origins of Walter Battus, Another Curious Palimpsest, which was, and I've just found a YouTube clip about it, or a news clip. Giles gave them a big trunk full of all his papers and notes and everything, and it was all restored at Wits, and there was an exhibition. So, you know, his influence for that sort of thing was incredible, and it still goes on.
Find out more next month.
Yeah.
Definitely very interested in that. Thanks.
But walk around now and look